Hey, welcome to the James Show. This is News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. And in honor of my birthday, I'm going to do something that I only do on my birthday. There's a couple of shows that are on the James Show calendar that aren't on your calendar. This is one of them, my birthday. And this is where I take one segment and I tell you some hard truths that I feel like telling you every day. I just don't want to push you away or be a jerk or make you get sick of hearing it. And it would mean less if I did it every day. The other one is August 17th. That would be the first day of my radio career. And on that day, I take a segment and I tell you my origin story. Because one of the common questions is like, how did you get this job? How did you end up here? How do I get that job? And when I tell you the story, you're going to think I'm a maniac. You've never heard my origin story before. But it sounds like a movie. You're going to think I'm making it up because it sounds like Catch Me If You Can. And it's not that far off. But that's August 17th. Right now, though, you're getting the birthday lecture. And I felt like this before I became a dad, but it was only strengthened by becoming a dad, because now I'm in charge of not only myself, and, you know, if you screw up yourself, whoop-de-doo, you're not hurting anybody else. But if you screw up your kids, well, dang, that's downright immoral, and that you got to feel bad about that. So one thing that I'm constantly trying to correct, not just my kids, but people around me, is this whole idea of you just do you. You just be yourself. There is no one better. It means just accept yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You only need to accept yourself. That is some of the worst advice that goes unchecked in our society that causes huge problems. No, don't just be yourself. You have not reached your full potential yet. And if you are content with where you're at, then you have no incentive to improve, now do you? And if you do follow that ethos, just be yourself. You don't need to change a thing. Damn right you need to change something. You're not perfect. And look, I'm not saying take it too far the other way. I'm not saying you have to be the strongest person you could possibly be and reach your full potential. No, I'm not telling everyone you have to turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lou Ferrigno or some other guy that's just pumped up on horse steroids. I'm telling you, just do something. Do not be the weakest version possible of yourself. And how do you do that? Most people do it. You realize most people are the weakest version of themselves possible? All you have to do is not work out, ever. Don't ever go jogging. Don't ever lift weights. Don't ever take any time out of your day to do any sort of exercise or physical activity that you could possibly avoid. Don't take the stairs, take the elevator. Drive your car, don't walk. Never take a bike, never lift a weight, never do P90X, none of that. You know how many people do that? About 90% of the country does that. People will tell folks in surveys, oh yeah, I work out all the time, or I work out on a regular basis, or I keep myself in shape. Used to drive me nuts. I used to co-host a show with the guy who used to say he kept himself in shape, and he never worked out. All I'm asking you, I'm not asking you to go do an hour 3 times a week. I'm not asking you to go run a 10K. How about this? 5 minutes. Can you exercise for 5 minutes? Is that too much? Okay, fine. 3 minutes. Can you do 3 minutes? Is that too much? Because you say, no, that's not too much. Well, fine, go do it. Well, I'm busy now. Oh, really? You don't have 3 minutes. What about later at home when you're sitting down to watch Netflix? Before you allow yourself to watch one show, give me 3 minutes. Just do push-ups until you can't do them anymore. Do some sit-ups, or really squats are great. Do some lunges. You can't do it for 3. Give me 1 minute. You can't do 1 minute. You can't go walk around the block. You can't walk to the end of the driveway and back. Because look, a lot of you people are dismissing yourself. They're like, oh, he's talking to younger people. I'm like 72. I couldn't possibly do that. Go walk. You can do more than you're doing now. I don't care who you are. You could be doing more than you're doing now. So that's number one. Do not be the weakest version of yourself possible. Again, you don't have to get in the Olympic decathlon. Just do anything. And if it's just 1 minute, that's better than nothing. It's better than what you're doing now. Don't be the dumbest version of yourself possible. And this is another one of the things that people lie to surveyors about. If someone put a microphone in your face and say, hey, do you read books? Everyone would say, yeah, I read books. They're lying. There's only, again, like 90% of the population, more like 95%, doesn't read books, like hasn't read a full book in the past year. To be honest, I've only read like 2. I do audiobooks, though. And that's kind of like, I'm not trying to be the dumbest version of myself possible. Audiobooks help a lot, like when you're in the car or when you're mowing the lawn or when you're doing anything to where your ears aren't occupied. Audiobooks, documentaries. Look, you're going to sit down and watch Netflix. Watch some fun stuff. Watch the old Seinfelds. Watch The New Gentleman. Watch Peaky Blinders or whatever. But throw in some documentaries every once in a while. Stop being the dumbest version of yourself possible. This is what I say to my kids, too. I'm like, I don't care that you watched YouTube for an hour at a time. Just stop watching dumb stuff. You know how smart you would be if you just filled that time with something that was just, it doesn't even have to be brilliant. It could just be less dumb. My next lecture here, don't be the least talented version of yourself possible. I'm going to pick on my dad here. My dad's one of these people who's like, oh, I always want to learn an instrument. My mom too. Oh, I always want to learn an instrument. They're retired now. What is your excuse? Oh, I'm old. Oh, it's hard. Why get started now? I'm past that. Lame excuses. Very disappointing. It is not too late to learn an instrument. You would be surprised at how easy guitar is. That's why so many people play it. That's why all those nerds and dorks and chodes in college were showing up with the acoustic guitar at the party and getting all the chicks, because it's easy. They're not wildly talented. Have you listened to interviews with musicians? Some of them are just downright brain damage dumb. So don't be the least talented version of yourself possible. And it doesn't have to be a musical instrument. You could teach yourself how to paint, or you could work on sculpting, or you could write that song in your head, or you could learn how to code. You could write that book that's in your head. How many people you know that think, oh, I've been thinking about writing a book, or I've always wanted to write a book, or have a great idea for a book? Then write it. Whatever you were going to waste your time on, if you were going to watch some Netflix this evening, maybe take half of that time and start just typing out a manuscript. Well, I don't even know where to start. I don't have a publisher. It's probably not going to get published anyway. I don't care. Do it. Or if you have a song in your head, write it. If you wanted to learn a language, do it. Because there's still plenty of time. There's plenty of time to learn a new instrument. You're not in hospice. If you're in a hospice, you're exempted from all this criticism. But for the rest of us, plenty of time. I could teach you, if you took the time, you could play guitar great in 3 months. You could learn a new language, or at least some of a new language. You could learn a new sport. You know, you make fun of all these old people running around playing pickleball. That could be you. A lot of people are finding that's fun. They're actually getting exercise. They're being social. They're not being isolated. It's a dumb name for a sport, pickleball. There's not even any pickles involved. But it's not too late to pick it up. You don't have to be a slob. You could be one of those weirdo pickleball people. But do it. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time to get in shape or to do something. There's plenty of time to learn an instrument. There's plenty of time to travel. The point is, don't just be you. Don't just sit on the couch and not change a thing. You're not good enough. You could be better. And if you have a little bit of full potential left, you should pursue it. Whatever your goal is, just pick one and pursue it and go hard. Go fail. Don't worry about failing. You know how many jobs I've been fired from or laid off in radio? And if I would have quit after any of those, I wouldn't be here. It was never the end. And whatever it is, well, I would like to learn an instrument, but no one's going to teach me, or I would like to get in shape, but I don't have a personal trainer. No, you don't need anybody to allow you or to help you. The question shouldn't be who's going to let you get in shape, or who's going to let you learn an instrument, or who's going to let you learn how to paint or a new language. The question is who's going to stop you? Get off your butt. You can still have fun. You can still eat bad every once in a while. You can still watch dumb stuff on Netflix. You can still be lazy and sit on your couch. You can still sleep in. You can still drink alcohol. You can still party. But for some of that, take some of that time and be a little more productive. Just improve yourself a little bit. And if you do that every day, you won't feel worthless. You won't feel like you're wasting your time. You won't necessarily be happy. It's not fun to fail or spend all the time on a painting that doesn't turn out the way you want. But you're not wasting your time. And just remember, after all this, it doesn't matter. In 100 years, no one will know that any of us were here. So what are you worried about? All right, that's my James Show birthday lecture. I hope that wasn't too harsh.